Hey everybody,
Hey
Sean
guys.
and Allison here from Spoken Garden, and we're here to help you become a better gardener. And today we are on location in Maui.
We're in Maui, guys.
We're up at a Maui Tea Farm, and it's this beautiful 14-acre spread where they grow a ton of Camellia Sinensis.
Yep, they're a commercial tea farm, and they grow a whole bunch of different things besides tea here too. So, and we've got an interview with one of the owners coming up very soon, so stay tuned.
And thank you so much, Andrea, for your time in explaining a little more about the process of the tea and how you came to have this beautiful farm.
So look behind us. Here's some tea plants right behind us, and we're going to show you these and a little bit more behind us here of the tea farming operation, and then we'll get into the interview.
Okay, you guys, we're here on the property and we just took an awesome tour of all of these plants around this whole farm. Here is a row of Camellia Sinensis. We were just able to learn a lot about this plant and how it's grown and what exactly is used for cultivation. And they explained it's these top, I don't know if this is the exact one that they would pick, but these new shoots.
Yep, they call it a pico, and you're going to learn more about that in a little bit.
So they have all of this Camellia and then all of that.
Look at all that, you guys.
And they range in different years of when they were planted. So I believe, if I remember right, Mason said this row, these are about maybe 5 or 6 years old.
Yep.
And then beyond, you can see they're a little bit smaller, and those were planted in the last 3 years to even 1 year up there on the top
They
left.
have succession planting of camellia plants for tea.
So the Maui Tea Farm here is the only tea farm on Maui. There are other, there are people that probably grow it in their backyard and whatnot, but this is an actual commercial operation. And you'll see their website down below if you want to check out their shop, because they have some awesome tea.
Yep, and make sure to take the tour we signed up for. It was an hour-long tour. It was amazing.
Okay, so let's go talk to Andrea, one of the owners of the Maui Tea Farm, and we're going to learn a lot more about what they do here.
Hey everybody, we're here in Maui and we're at the Maui Tea Farm. We get to talk to Andrea DeRude and we get to learn all about her and her tea farm. So Andrea, thank you for being here with us.
Mahalo, thank you guys for coming today. Thank you, Sean, for your questions.
Oh, yeah.
And Allison, you're behind the camera. Thank you for joining us up here today. So we are up at 4,000 feet on the Hawaiian volcano of Haleakala. This is a dormant volcano that forms all of East Maui. And our Maui Tea Farm is the one and only tea farm here on Maui Island. We started in 2014 just as a backyard garden.
Wow. Oh, that's so cool.
Yes.
So low tech, small space.
That is, gosh, we could probably have a whole episode dedicated to what started us on our crazy path to farming tea. But the short story of it is my husband and I are very passionate about tropical agriculture. We love living here in upcountry Maui. And my background is in nutrition and wellness. So I'm a registered dietitian, which is a fancy credential for saying nutritionist. And he has a background in tropical agriculture and is also from the Hawaiian Islands. He's from upcountry Maui.
Oh, is he? Okay.
So we both wanted, over 10 years ago, planting the seed and thinking about, as a couple, we want to work together. We want to do something that's organic, natural, supporting a meaningful cause, and maybe going into agriculture. We thought about a lot of different crops we could grow. Once we literally started putting roots down on Maui, because we traveled a bit before coming back here in 2012, we thought maybe tea could be a great crop to grow. We had started a retail line of teas called Pono Infusions, which if anyone ever comes to upcountry Maui and our shop at Upper Kula, those are the teas that we have for sale in the shop. Our line of Pono Infusions teas is a line of organic and locally grown tea and herbal infusions, which is only, if we source things from outside of Maui, it's only organic and fair trade ingredients. And we only do organic and sustainable agriculture up here. So back when we started thinking about starting a retail line, it was more, sourcing ingredients from around the world that are healthy for the planet, healthy for the body. We began that, and then that led to wanting to do the agricultural part of it.
Oh, that's so fun.
So it's a strange...
But it built off of that.
It built off of the retail concept. I think sometimes people start farming and then develop a a product. Anyway, we had a little bit of a roundabout way of doing it. And farming really was something we thought, oh, we could start this as a backyard project and see where it goes. I think on any continent, probably except Antarctica, you can find a tea garden or a tea plantation growing. I think that tea is an evergreen crop, which most people don't know is the most consumed beverage in the world after water, plain water.
I would have guessed coffee, but
Yeah.
I'm a coffee drinker.
If you just think about all of the populations that drink tea, you've got it growing in China, you've got it growing in India, so billions of people already consuming it. It grows in upper elevation parts of Africa. Here in North America, yeah, maybe we're more coffee drinkers.
Seattle, Tacoma.
And, and coffee is absolutely delicious and wonderful. That's one crop that we thought about growing, and we'll touch a little bit about on that later. But yeah, the tea crop is very versatile, and so it actually might be a backyard crop that, just like we did 8 years ago, that other people might want to try or see in their local area if they also have a tea garden or a tea farm nearby. And you're planning on starting a farm, just check in with your neighbors and landlords. At the time, we were hoping to lease land or figure out a way we could put the plants in the ground permanently, because we had tea seedlings on tables. We actually we're on social media at Maui Tea Farm on Facebook and Instagram. So there are some long ago pictures from 2013, 2014.
Oh, wow.
Where sometimes I post flashbacks and you can see what we started with. But tea as a seedling, very easy to grow in a pot, and actually they're very hardy, so sometimes they can live in pots for a long, long period of time.
Oh, that's good.
It's good to get them in the ground because they do like to root down. And there are several pests, several soil considerations, climate considerations to think about if you're going to plant tea or other herbs in your backyard garden or on your farm.
Oh, wow. So a couple caveats, a couple things to do for homework, but it's doable.
It's doable, and then you just have to be patient. So a tea bush, I know we were joking a little bit around, we were saying tea trees and having fun with the play on words there.
Oh, yeah.
So tea really is a tree. The Camellia sinensis will grow into a tree if left to its own devices. And in fact, in Yunnan, in southwestern China, the province of Yunnan, you can see the oldest tea groves in the world are there, and they are trees. So sometimes these really old, millennia old tea growing communities are gathering their harvests on ladders on trees.
Oh my gosh.
So that's obviously a little bit challenging, especially for us. We don't want to be on ladders. So we do what most, I think, tea growers around the world do, which is hedge your tea into crops.
Just kind of at chest height.
Yep. And to get to that point from our cutting or seedling to a tea bush, it's going to take a few years. It may be at least 4 years until you start seeing them get into a row height, depending upon your climate and your soil and where you live.
Time commitment.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now you started out in your backyard, and you've now grown to this beautiful farm. Now, when did you make that transition to the farm? What year was that?
Yeah, our bushes were maturing and growing the first few years. So we have a home farm property where that's literally our backyard farm.
Oh, you still have that?
We still have it. That's where we live.
Great. Oh, okay.
Yes, and it's right down the road from where we're sitting right now at our current location. Okay. We decided, well, we had lovely people wanting to come visit us. And at our backyard farm, it's very steep. Like many tea fields around the world, it's located on steep terrain. We've got weed mat all over the place just for more natural, well, maybe not natural, but for chemical-free weed control. Sustainability, not using too many additives, and not using any chemical herbicides, pesticides, fungicides. That's very important to us. So our solution for in a climate like Hawaii where grass grows all the time, there's lots of nasty weeds, we've weed matted everything, and so there's a trip hazard and blah blah blah. We decided, okay, we wanted to have a space to welcome the public, so people can see tea plants, take a farm tour,
Mm-hmm.
do some shopping, engage with us as farmers. So in 2020 of all years, we had the opportunity to move up to this location.
Oh, okay.
And this property is very special because it was run as a lavender farm for about 2 decades by our very lovely neighbor. And our neighbor was looking to transition out. She'd been up here for a very long time, and she happened in her 20-year tenure up here to be planting citrus trees, lavender, olives, which you also saw on the tour,
Yeah.
coffee. We have about a ½ acre of different coffee cultivars up here, as well as Camellia sinensis and mamaki, which is a special herbal plant that you only find here in Hawaii that's used for herbal tea.
And we had some of that right at the end of our tour. So
Yes.
if anybody's coming to Maui, come up to the Maui Tree Farm and have the tea.
Yes.
So gotta get that plug in there.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah.
So the fact that there were already mature Camellia sinensis on this property, there's obviously lots of parking, a nice retail space, lots of outdoor seating, especially in the beginnings of the pandemic where we weren't really sure what's going to happen. Are people going to come back up here at all? That was a big question. But we thought, you know what, having a large amount of outdoor space and outdoor activities to do for both locals and visitors would be a great venue just to try to work with and see what happens. The tea plants, these up here are probably between 8 and 10 years old. And so we worked all during 2021 to start pruning them and training them to get into that waist high hedge. That is really going to be good for harvesting tea.
Yeah, and on the tour we got your tour guide Mason. He walked us through a lot of that and just the hand picking and all the. It's so labor intensive.
Yes,
it's amazing how labor intensive it is. Have you? I mean, you obviously go out and you do some of the harvesting too, and get your hands in there and do all that. Is that fun? I mean.
Yeah, we do all of the harvesting. So the only true tea product, Camellia sinensis product that's grown here on Maui Island and is for sale is Haleakala Black. That's our black tea that we're sold out of in the shop today, unfortunately. But we have it it's a seasonally available product. It's available when our family and our team have the time to go and hand pick all of the peko that's there. And so it's a very special product.
And can you tell our audience what peko is? What peko means?
Oh, thank you. So the term peko is a very tea special term. You're not going to hear it very much outside of the tea world. When we think of a tea plant, a Camellia sinensis plant, the newest growth that comes up from the plant, those tea shoots, the tea leaves in the bud, those are peko. Okay. So some people might have heard the term orange peko, which is a tea branding term that a lot of, and grading term for black tea. In any case, when I say peko, I mean the new tea shoots, the first 2 leaves in the bud.
Okay, cool. It gets really technical. We found out on our tour about, picking them and the process and just all the different aspects to it. It's truly amazing that from this one plant, all these different kinds of tea can be made.
Yeah. We briefly talked about it grows all over the world. It grows in the Pacific Northwest. It grows obviously here in Hawaii. People are growing it in England and Scotland and northern France, which sounds really cold, but I guess it's doing well there. It's used to getting snowed on in the Himalayas. And so there's a lot of benefits to maybe trying a few types of starts, seedlings, maybe if you have a tea farm nearby that sells clones or cuttings. If they offer that, or a farmer's market that offers that, you can try to pick up a few there. But maybe just getting a nice variety and see what actually works in your backyard, in your soils. As a basic just starting point, know that tea, it likes good rich soil. So you want to make sure if you have clay soils or a lot of rocky soils, or if sand and not having enough organic matter is an issue, you do want to have enough organic matter available in your soil. So maybe considering amendments and things like that. But certain types of plants are going to do better than others. So there's a little bit of that trial and error standpoint. Tea really likes acidic soil too. And the thing with Camellia sinensis is that, so it is an evergreen. It'll be fine if it gets snowfall. It does like rain. It loves sun. So you don't want it to have too much shade. It's okay if it has some incidental shade just in the morning and evening. But I think making sure you have good organic matter, nice acidic soil or amendments or other acid-loving plants in the vicinity, and either irrigation, or if you're in a rainy climate like Oregon, parts of Oregon and Washington, because everything's changing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Even up here too, it's not very. We only get about 35 inches of rain a year. So.
And your tour guide Mason mentioned to us too that you're going through a drought right now.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, how long has that been going on?
So seasonally, droughts do happen here on Maui. Certain areas are the wettest parts of the world, like Iao Valley and parts of Hana, which is in the mountains and on the east side of our island. But yeah, there are some areas that, depending upon what side you're on, and also if there's been habitat loss, it really will affect the rainfall every year. So we are in a drought right now, which is pretty crazy because as we're filming this, it's April. And yeah, so we have to really rely on irrigation and collecting water. So growing tea in a rainy area, if you've got good draining soil, that'll be a good crop to try, just in keeping all of these things in mind. You can make any type of tea from the Camellia sinensis plant. So if you have, say, any Camellia sinensis plant, a seedling or a cutting or clone that's true to its parent plant, from that plant, when it's growing all the nice new peko, the new tender shoots, you can make white tea, green tea, black tea, oolong tea. So it's actually the processing that will determine what kind of finished product you get. And there's lots and lots of good, articles and videos and things. You can literally probably Google and find any recipe online. It's actually not a secret at all. And so that would be the next step. If you have a healthy, thriving Camellia sinensis plant that in the spring and summer is growing the new green growth, those new tips you can then turn into any recipe from there.
That's amazing. And for the recipes too, in the processing, there's also different ways to process. It's just not one type of processing fits all. There's different ways to dry the leaf. We learned all this on our tour, and there's so much more. Oh my gosh! But yeah, there's different ways of handling the picked leaves, the pico, and then rolling them around or trying to bruise them at a certain point, and then drying them, and just the rest of it. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. And so any tea can be made by hand. If you have a lot of tea, having equipment is going to be more helpful. So we're kind of transitioning to that point of using more equipment because now we're getting kind of sore and we're more of a commercial operation.
Oh yeah.
But you can actually make your tea completely by hand. Whether you want white tea, green tea, black tea, oolong, again, is going to depend upon the recipe. But like Cliff's Notes version, white tea is just you pick your peko and you let it dry. So you could get a food grade dehydrator where you make. We have a lot of friends here who dehydrate tropical fruit like bananas or papayas and stuff. So you get a food grade dehydrator, and you can actually make dried white tea right from there.
That makes it really easy.
Yeah. White tea is very good for you. It's the least processed tea, very high in antioxidants. If you dry your white tea and you pack it, just being careful of humidity and mold development is the only thing that I would suggest. So maybe having food grade desiccant packs that you put in, your storage bag would be good. But that would be like a great first step for people to start to learn. And then the recipes for green tea and black tea and everything in between, which is like, I guess, that oolong tea spectrum. There's lots of stuff online. I mean, we can discuss a little bit what makes black tea, and oolong tea. But there's a lot of different recipes and ways that you can.
For our audience, when they go online, would you recommend a good tea to start out with from your shop?
Yeah, it's so personal. So for people who are herbal fans, we have two teas that aren't true tea. They're more tisanes or herbals. But you would brew them exactly the same. And so that's our farm grown mamaki, which is native Hawaiian nettle. And that's a plant that is only found here in the Hawaiian Islands. The plant species is Pipterus albitus. So backyard farmers who are in Hawaii, they might be familiar or growing it already. But mamaki is a really unique plant. That's the one that you guys tasted at the end of the tour.
Really good, you guys. Oh my gosh.
It's related to European nettle. So for folks who are used to growing nettle or have prepared nettle tea or nettle soup, has a lot of the same nutritional properties. Both are very high in antioxidants, so they have that deep red brew. The longer you steep it for, so we do a long steep with our mamaki. We steep it for 20 minutes. You bring out more of the antioxidant profile. It becomes more syrupy and rich. And mamaki, it's known in Hawaiian culture for its health benefits. So traditional Native Hawaiian herbal medicine is called la'au lapa'au. This is a very important indigenous practice that is an oral tradition that continues to this day with la'au lapa'au practitioners. Mamaki is one of several herbs that's been very important to this practice. Others might include kava kava root or ava root. Lomi lomi massage is also a part of it too. And there are several other special herbs and plants that we grow here that have been brought here by the Native Hawaiians that pre-contact were just a part of how you would heal people or work together.
Yeah.
Yep. And mamaki, so just like nettles, it's a mild diuretic. So it's sometimes people like to use it because it has that fluid releasing properties that diuretics have. So it can help lower blood pressure if you have extra fluid on board, help with swelling, edema in your lower extremities or anywhere on your body. So it's a healthy tea, not just something that tastes good, which is kind of a bonus. Yeah, and I think that just trying to read the descriptions that we have on our website and see what suits your palate or flavor profile.
What's the name of your black tea? Because Allison drinks black tea. And we're going to get some, but for our audience out there, what's the name of your black tea that you have?
So our black tea is our Haleakala black tea. Haleakala is the volcano that we're up here on. And Haleakala in Hawaiian means house of the sun. So this mountain, one of the most popular activities to do here on Maui Island is go see sunrise or sunset at the top of Haleakala. So we named our very special estate-grown black tea after this beautiful place that we get to farm in.
If people want to take a tour, what's the best way for them to get signed up for one of your farm tours?
You can go online to our website, mauiteafarm.com. We have a very prominent tours button where you can check out our 2 tea farm tours that are currently listed. So we have a 1 hour and 2 hour long tour. Our Meet the Tea tour is what you folks took today. That's our 1 hour long tour where we walk through the gardens. We do a tasting of 2 teas. Our 2 hour long tour is our Tea Lovers tour. That one has some light snacks. We taste all 5 teas that we have for sale here. And it's just a more in-depth tasting. And so you can see all availabilities and pricing online. We also just welcome walk-ins. We do sometimes mini tours when folks are walk-in if we have a guide or one of us available. So that's kind of nice for people who maybe weren't familiar with us but saw the sign as they were driving up and down to the crater.
Very prominent right off the highway there. So
yes, and then we're a tea shop as well. So if you just want to come in, have a cup of tea, maybe buy some gifts or pick up some tea. This is one of our outdoor picnic table areas, which people can come and enjoy themselves at.
Oh yeah. And so if somebody wanted to come here and buy the tea, but they don't have enough room to pack it away to take it back home, do you guys ship? Awesome.
We do, yeah. So online, mauiteafarm.com, and our sister website, ponoinfusions.com. Basically, they're both the same product catalog, but we ship to most, let me say this correctly. We ship across the U.S. We do ship to Canada, Japan, the UK. Trying to add more international destinations soon. So, and we welcome messages if you're interested in just learning more about how to find us or visiting the farm.
And so, last question: if anybody wants to reach out to you on social media, what platform and what's your guys' handle?
We're on both Facebook and Instagram. Very easy to remember, at Maui Tea Farm. All one word.
Okay. Yes. Great. Thank you for meeting with us today.
Thank you for coming up.
Wow.
My pleasure. I'm glad you got to meet our team. Everyone up here is really, really fantastic. Everyone works super hard, and yeah, it's just great to make this whole tea dream come true. I have to pinch myself sometimes.
Okay, you guys, that kind of wraps up our day here at the
Wow.
Maui Tea Farm.
Oh.
I've learned so much today.
Me too, and we had so much
About
fun.
tea.
We hope you enjoyed this interview and just seeing a part of their tea farm here. And you know what, if you're in Maui, definitely come up.
You've got to come check this
They
place
have
out.
daily
Yep.
tours. You can do an hour-long tour. You can do a 2-hour-long tour. Go to the website, Maui Tea Farm, and sign up. It's amazing.
It's
here.
amazing. The drive up here is beautiful. It's the whole road up to the Haleakala crater.
It's hard to say.
I know, and there's beautiful trees. And if you're down in, again, if you're in Maui and you've never been up country, you've got to come up here.
Oh yeah, totally. You know, and if you have any questions about what you saw here today or any questions for us, leave them down below. We love hearing from you. And make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so you get updates on our latest videos.
Yep. For now, we'll see you next time.
Yep, see you later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.